Hey there, Jed Kobernusz here from jedkobernusz.com, and welcome to Talk Therapy, a tool that I use to think out loud, to get past my analytical mind, and to just put it all out there. I know I switched those around, but oh well, here we are. I'm going to answer a very specific question without even thinking about it, because I love that way of thinking, like no preparation, just hit it, right? So a person asked me about calories, or what to do about how much should I eat, or how much energy should I put in my body, and how often should I put it in my body, and all of that fun stuff. So there are many tools. There are many apps. It's overwhelming on how much information there is out there. Okay, it's crazy amount of overwhelming, and that's what leads people to do nothing at all. Right? Oh my gosh, I didn't get this right, so I'm not going to do it at all. Now, apply the same consistency is greater than intensity approach. Right? Apply that same mindset, that same thing. What you're doing when you're doing one round every single day is you're completely rewiring your brain that you do not have to be perfect. That's what you're doing. Okay, so apply that same concept to energy expenditure, to nutrition, to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? So with calorie specific, there are, you can go BMR, basal metabolic rate, and there are formulas for that. You can go TDEE, total daily energy expenditure. There are so many things, but here is where I recommend everybody start. It's the simplest way, because if you're going to go from, all out eating to not even knowing what you eat, to just eating and not even becoming aware and familiar with what you're eating, to all of a sudden just tracking everything and, okay, I can only have this amount and I can only eat during these days, you're going to fail. I promise you're going to fail. You're going from one extreme to the other extreme. And that is not sustainable. Sustainable change takes small and slow approaches. That's why the consistency is greater than intensity. And that's why it works. Because it's not an abrupt change. Right? Some people need that, and that's okay. But for right now, small changes, because a person who's doing the WODs, you're already making small changes, and you can make those compound changes, which is awesome. But making too many changes at once is a flight to health, right? The flight that you do not want to get on, because you're gonna peak, you're gonna just go, yeah, I'm doing it, and you can't handle the amount of air you have just gained, like the airtime you're at, and it's not sustainable, and then you crash, right? Okay, so what am I saying here? What I'm saying is start to become familiar, become aware with what you're eating. And the hardest thing a person can wrap their head around, the hardest thing that I have ever done in my life is track calories. But at the same time, it is such an eye-opening experience. In college, I had to do it for a month. Write down every single damn thing that went into my mouth. And I'm literally saying, like, water to, that candy bar. I mean, everything. And the hardest thing, this is why I don't address food with people, because you're not fucking honest with yourself. You're not honest with me. Actually, let's rewind that. You're not honest with me. You're not. So how the hell are you expecting to actually make change when you're not honest with me? And then on top of that, you're not honest with yourself. So We have these things in our hands called a phone, right? It is connected to the internet. You don't have to be perfect with your tracking, meaning like, well, I don't know how much that salad was because I don't even know how much dressing I put on there, so I don't know. Man, like, get as close as you can, right? Like, you had a salad with ranch dressing on it and chicken and some croutons. Google that, and there's your calories. There's your macros. There's your micros. Like, done. That's all it needs to be. What you're doing is you're becoming familiar with how many calories you're actually taking in. You would be, like, blown away on how much you're actually taking in versus what you think you're taking in. I was taking in a solid 2.5 to 3 times more than what I thought I was taking in. I was like, oh, this isn't that much. Holy shit balls. Like, that is such a mind-blowing experience, and it changed me forever. Like, track your calories. In order to lose weight, if you will, you need to be in a caloric deficit. Like, it's as simple as that. People, be honest with your fucking selves. You're not tracking everything. Those 2, 3, 4 candy bars that you stopped at the gas station to get, you're not tracking those. You don't want to, because that comes from shame. That's a whole nother level. So to do every single thing 100% perfect is impossible. It just is. Fuck that. It's not happening. So cut yourself some slack. Just a little, because as soon as you cut yourself way too much slack, now you're right back to square one. But love the fact that you're already, it's the stages of change. Like, let's go back to that. Pre-contemplation, contemplation, right? Like, we're thinking about doing it, and then we're thinking about doing it. Like, that's where we're at. That's where a lot of people stay. And then you get into that action phase. You skip a couple, you're there. You're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be here. And then it's just too much, right? So then we go back to doing nothing. And then we're thinking about it. Like, basically, you're just thinking about it. It's the ideas are shit, because we all have ideas, and execution is everything. It's how you execute what you're doing. So small. So I guess what I'm saying is it's small changes. So either you can type it out in your phone in like your a document, or you can write it on a piece of paper, go old school, grab yourself a notebook and just write everything down. I would suggest is put it in your notes section of your phone, right? Like, you can add another day and just enter down, space down, right? Whatever, every single day. For a month seems daunting. I get that. So find an amount that is not daunting to you. So a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. And don't change a fucking thing. Like, zero. Do not change anything. Because if you change something, then you don't actually have an accurate reading of what's going on. And again, it doesn't need to be perfect. So an accurate, like, oh my gosh, am I doing this right? There is no right. There's only right for you. That's really what it is. There is no right way to do anything. There's no wrong way to do anything. It's just what's right for you. You can do a ton of research on a push-up. You can do a ton of research on basal metabolic rate, right? But if you don't actually do the push-up and actually do the calorie tracking, if you will, to understand what amount of energy needs to go into your body, then you're just going to be looking at that push-up and looking at whatever a calorie is forever. Like, calories are energy. That's it. That's all it is. And if you don't use the energy, your body has to do something with it. It will just store it. It will bring it into something that it knows what to do with, fat or sugar or both, and it will just store it. It'll hold on to it. That's as simple as you can get it. There's way more to it because of the emotional eating that a person does, the signals from your stomach, from your gut, that may be something completely different. Like, if you didn't know this, when you're tired, it also will give you the same sensation as if you were starving, like hungry. So know that. I mean, there's so many other things a person can do to get to know all of that. It's just for the specific energy expenditure question, how much should I eat? When should I eat? It really doesn't matter. It's first step, become familiar with what you're eating, how many total calories you take in every single day, and be fucking honest. Like, honest. Not shameful, just honest with what you take in. You would be blown the hell away from that. Like, your body, your mind are on two different levels, on two different, like, planets even. Bring those in to the same place with that exercise, if you will, and then you'll be like, oh, wow, okay, I'm taking in a ton, or I'm not taking in enough. Can happen on both ways. Not taking in enough calories can happen like that. Your body just completely takes in whatever it is and it just stores it right away. And there's, intermittent fasting and all that fun stuff, but most people don't do that. They just don't eat, or they overeat, and they're in both extremes all the time. Become familiar with what you're eating, and you don't have to be so perfect of it. Google, broccoli calories, and there you go. That's enough, right? At least right now, that's what it can be. It's starting small with small changes. So yeah, thank you so much, Kobernusz, for listening. Thank you for just being willing. Do more of that. Be willing to fail. Be willing to not get it right, because you're not going to right away. I don't, ever. And I love it, because then I get to learn. That's the fun part. It just is. There you go. And share this with somebody who needs to hear it, please. There's some people out there who just really, they're perfectionists. And you don't need to be. Nobody's perfect, ever. Actually, we're all imperfect. And I love that. Our imperfections are why we're human. So have fun with that one too. Let that sink in. And hit that subscribe button. Hit that like and comment if you have any comments. Let me know. Otherwise, if you're willing to change from the neck up, you will change from the neck down. I believe in you. Now it's your turn to start believing in yourself. Stay safe out there. Be blessed. Bye for now.